My name is Richard from Jetovator. Thank you for choosing the Jetovator. Today we're going to cover the assembly of your new Jetovator. First thing you're going to want to do is locate your packing list, which you will find usually on the side of the box and inside. You'll want to take this and do a complete inventory of all your parts. The parts that we need for today will be located in the bag. In this bag, you'll find your pins, the hardware for your knee pad, and your foot plates. Also, you will need to locate your brackets for your foot plates. The tools you're going to need for the assembly of your new Jetovator are a 3/8 ratchet, a 1/2 wrench, a 7/16 wrench, a 7/32 Allen, a 3/16 Allen, 5/32 Allen, and your 1/8 Allen, and another 1/8 Allen for tightening the bolts. Okay, when you receive your Jetovator, the ends will come wrapped like this. But for instructional purposes, I have removed the other side so that when you go to clean your Jetovator, you will know how to put it back together. First off, we have two different types of rings. Though they may look similar, they are different in size. This one right here, as you can see, it goes on this very easily. And they will come with the screws in here, which will have to be removed before installation. What you'll do, you remove your screws, and then you just set it on there like this. Now this is your bushing. Before you put the bushing on, you take some marine grade grease, put just a little bit on your finger, and just put a nice thin coat around this. That will make it so much easier to slide this on, as you can see. Then, after that, this is your outer set collar. What you have to do is line these holes up with these before you put it on. And this goes on kind of snug, so take it down slowly until your holes line up. Then you take these small button head screws, and this is where the small 1/8 Allen comes in handy. And you will put the screws in from the inside to the outside. You may still have to move your collar around a little bit till you get it perfectly lined up. The collar is threaded, so all you have to do is put the screws in, put all 4 screws in. Before you tighten anything up, make sure all your screws are lined up.
I did with the
Okay, with your bushing and outer retaining ring installed, last thing you have is your seal. You take your grease again, put a thin coat, very thin, around the outside, put your seal on, and then once again, take grease and put it on the outside. Now you're ready for the installation of your handlebars. Okay, your handlebars will come like this, all wrapped up, nice, neat, and safe. Okay, during the installation of your Jetovator parts, you want to make sure that you do this on a cushioned surface, either like we have it padded here, a carpet, anything to keep your Jetovator safe. because you'll be moving it around, turning it, getting all the parts on, and you just don't want to scratch your Jetovator. So that's why we use cushions or padding. So if you notice the bends in the handlebars, here and here, this will be your right hand side, this will be your left hand side. That way the grips are always pointed back towards you. So, once again, we take our grease, put a light coating around your bushing, okay, and you determine which side you're working with. This will be your right hand side here, and this will be your left. So you locate the right side handlebar, which is this one here. You bring this up, and if you'll notice, there are holes in here which will correspond with the holes in the inner retaining ring. You want to put this on in one smooth motion, because if you try to pull it back up, you're going to pull your seal off. So just slide it down nice and smooth, and it should pop right into place. You make sure your holes are lined up, and then these countersunk 1/8" bolts here, you take and you put them into the hole, and you get one started, and that'll hold the ring up. Then you just go around. Never tighten them up until all the bolts are in. It's around like this. Okay, now that all of your bolts are in, you want to go back and tighten them. And like you would on a car, it's always best to do it in an opposing fashion. Okay, you're going to want to do that to both sides. One thing I need to mention is these retaining rings are made of a plastic, so you do not want to over tighten them because they will strip out on you. So you repeat the process for the other side. Another important thing to remember is when you're taking your plastic off, be very careful not to scratch your powder coat. And always inspect your plastic to make sure that your seal did not come out with it. So, once again, you're going to want to take this off. Put a light coating around it. Put your seal on. Another light coating. And then, of course, go over your bushing. And then, once again, take your bolts out. They do have a tendency to fly away, so be careful. Like that. Okay. Line your bolts up. Very simple. Our engineers here at Jetovator have taken every step to make sure the Jetovator is extremely user-friendly and easy to work on if need be. Then once again, tighten these. Not crazy tight. And your handlebars are installed. Okay, a couple things to be mindful of is, if you'll notice here, we have grease fittings. This is to lubricate the functions of steering and to make sure all dirt and grit stays out of here. But of course, the grease won't last forever, so it has to be done on a regular basis. So what you do is you take your grease gun with marine grade grease and you just put grease in it, watching here until the grease just starts to come out. The first time you do this, it'll take a lot of grease, so don't worry. After that, it takes less and less, but it has to be done on a regular basis. Okay, just started coming out, so you want to move it and then do that again. Until the grease starts to come out. And you want to do that to both sides. Okay. Now, next thing we're going to do is we're going to put the foot plates on. We have all of the hardware that you'll need for this action in this little bag. There are different screws, different sizes, so you want to be mindful of what you use where. First off, you're going to want to separate your screws. Okay, you'll notice there's two different lengths of these 1/4-inch screws. These right here get what is known as a half nylock put on them. Those are for the sides of the foot plates. And these are for the support brackets in the back. So there should be 4 of these long ones and 2 short ones. So you get all your screws together. Okay, 2 different sizes, and you'll notice there are 2 half nylocks and 4 full nylocks. Okay, in your crate, your foot plates will come like this, wrapped in brown paper. Okay, before you install your foot plates, you're going to want to take your bolts and get the appropriate socket, Allen socket. And you're going to want to run your bolts all the way in and then pull them back out. Because during the powder coating process, some powder coat may have gotten inside, make it a little bit difficult during installation. As you can see, as I go in, it gets much easier. And then all you got to do is just take it back out and it's ready to go. You're going to want to do that to both sides. Okay, now you're ready to install your foot plates. Take a little bit of anti-seize. Just a little bit will do you. Okay. Since we're working reverse here, I am going to turn this around so you can see it as I install it. Okay, you're going to want to take your bolt, put it through that hole, and then into the axle. Okay, during your installation, do not tighten any bolts yet. Because if you start tightening bolts, sometimes things don't line up perfectly, and that will cause you problems getting other bolts in. Then you're going to want to take one of your small 1/4-inch bolts and your half nut. Okay. Take this hole right here, put it through there, like so. Put your washer on the back. And then put on your half nut. You're going to want to do the same thing for the other side. Just a little bit of anti-seize. Once again, making sure that you don't tighten anything up. Then you take your brackets. You will have 2 of them in your kit. Okay, one goes on top, one goes on bottom. And if you'll notice that the curves of the bracket will fit the curves of the foot plate. It's always best to do it that way. Then you take the longer of the 1/4-inch bolts, put one through that one, bring your other bracket up, get your washer, and then you put your full nut on. And I will show you on this one so you can see better how I did it. Take it through the top, come straight down, put your washer on, and your full nut. You repeat the steps until you have all 4 of your bolts in. Okay, I have installed all the bolts. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go through and tighten everything. One thing you want to keep in mind is as you put this together, you'll notice that I put the button head on the outside and the nut on the inside here. The reason for that is so you do not scrape your foot on this. And we put this the same way for safety. So as you tighten them, you don't want to go real fast because these are stainless screws, and if you put them in with a pneumatic tool or a speed wrench, you can get them hot and they may have a tendency to seize. So just nice and slow, a little hand wrench or a ratchet. Okay. Then we go through and begin tightening the rest. Take your time. I know you're in a hurry to get out on the water, but you don't want to take any shortcuts and try to do things too fast. So just enjoy what you're doing. You always want to make sure that you don't over tighten them, because that also will cause them to seize. And from personal experience, it is not fun. And that's how you install your foot plates. Okay, our next order of business is the knee pads. Excuse me. They will come also wrapped in brown paper. So what you want to do is you want to turn your bike back over. Now you understand why we use padding, because we do a lot of twisting and turning with this. When you're opening, always be careful. You don't want to cut or damage any of your parts. This is your knee pad assembly. Okay, as you notice, one side is curved and the other is flat. Always have the curved part towards the top of your knee. And the way you install this is you slide it through here very carefully, and then you put the tabs right here between the stabilizers. I personally am a pretty tall guy, so I have a tendency to move it all the way up. And right here, knee pads. You have a special packet just for that. You'll have 2 bolts, 4 washers, and 2 nuts. And as for safety, always put them from the outside in so you do not scrape your legs or your knees. Now that the bolts are installed, both bolts, okay, you don't tighten them all the way down yet. Make sure that both bolts have a little bit of resistance on them. Okay. Now, you just push this all the way up, so this bar here is against here. Then you finish tightening them down. Not too tight, don't want to lock them up. And your knee pads are installed. Almost finished with the installation of all your parts on your new Jetovator. Okay, the last step in assembling your Jetovator is the body, which I just happen to have one right here. It'll come in plastic, so just take it out, and there we go. Look at that, it's nice. Okay, so as you notice, the screws are right here inside the body. so you'll never have to go looking for them. Two screws hold the body onto the frame, and when you're putting your Jetovator together, it is always best to use just a little bit of Loctite on both these bolts. So, here we go. You have your seat pad right here. It goes to this section of the bike. Set it on. It's nice and snug. There we go. That's nice. Okay. Start with your back bolt here. That's what I always do. And with all the other bolts, don't put them in tight. Flip your Jetovator over. You grab your other screw. Make sure you put a little Loctite on it. Doesn't have to be real super tight, because once you have your Loctite on there, it'll hold it in place. And you go through, tighten up your back. There we go. And your brand new Jetovator is ready for action. Okay. If in need to find the serial number for the Jetovator, turn it over on its back, and you'll find the Made in USA sticker. Directly above the Made in USA sticker is a number. That is the serial number for your particular Jetovator. Each Jetovator has its own number, so it can never be mistaken with another. Okay, in order to replace the pads on your Jetovator, sometimes you may have to clip these off. Right here, you take a pair of dikes and then you count down 2 ribs and just like that. Bring them down to that level. And here's the finished pad right here. All of them have been clipped to that size. I personally always use gloves because my hands are usually greasy. Take this top one here and line it up with this hole. And it's in. And you just go through. Line up the holes. If you look at them, you can tell they're all the way down in. Make sure they're all the way down in, or it increases the possibility that it will break again. You just keep going through. Make sure you go side to side. Let me just take this completely out of here. Make sure you go side to side, so make sure it's even. You can hear it going in. Sometimes you just don't have enough finger pressure to put it in. Take yourself a rubber mallet, locate your plug, and just, it's all the way in. Don't have to beat on it, just a little bit will do it. This one right here, you can hear it going in. And I'm going to went all the way in. And your new pad is installed. All you have to do is just repeat the steps that I showed you for the front. Thank you for watching our video, and have a nice day.